All right, here we go with the volume of a prism. To find the volume of a prism, you're going to multiply the area of the base times the height of the prism. Now, the height of the prism is always at a right angle to the base. So here's an example of a prism. We're going to be taking the taking the area of that triangle, because that's the base, and then multiplying it by the height. Whoops, helps if I don't use the color white. Okay, so the height is right here, actually. It's not right here. This is deceiving. They labeled it as h, but it's not the height because the area of the base is right here. We find the area of that shape and then multiply it by the height of the prism. So that height might be the height of the triangle, but it's not the height of the prism. Okay, so let's distinguish between those two. Here's another example of a prism. We would take the area of that shaded base, which would be 18, because 6 times 3 is 18, and then we would multiply it by the height, which is 4. Okay, so that's the goal here. We're going to start with rectangular prisms, finding the volume of a rectangular prism. So we're going to take our little formula here, and we know that the base is a rectangle. This person has shaded the right side as the base, which might be a little weird, but that's an option. Okay, I would prefer to do the bottom. So it doesn't really matter what you choose to be the base, but you just have to keep track of what you choose. So here's maybe the base is the bottom. So for the area of that shape, which is a rectangle, I would do length times width, which is 9 times 2. And I would get 18 feet squared for the area of that base down there. And then I need to multiply it by the other number, which is the height. So area of the base times the height, 18 feet squared times 5 feet for our height. And we would end up with 90 feet cubed. Now, the way that some people prefer to do it is to simply, for a rectangular prism, multiply length times width times height. And that's another valid formula for finding the volume of a rectangular prism. So if you like to do that, you can just do 9 times 2 times 5, and you would get still 90 feet cubed. Okay, so there's our example. And we're going to do this one together, and then I'm going to have you try one. So we're still going to find the volume. And I like that length times width times height. So I'm going to do that for my formula. And so it doesn't really matter what you decide to label the length and what you decide to label the height and what you decide to label the width. We just need to multiply all 3 dimensions by each other. So 3 centimeters times 8 centimeters times 4 centimeters. That actually comes out to 96 centimeters cubed. Okay, so I have one more, like I said, and I'd like you to pause the recording right now and try to see what you can get on your own with this. Okay, so hopefully you've paused it. You might have done length times width for the area of the base and gotten 15 centimeters cubed, and then multiplied by the height. Length times width times height still, and we get 15 times 12, which is 180 centimeters cubed. Okay, so that's it for rectangular prisms. You're now ready to complete question 2 on your quiz that you've been working on. So take a minute and work on that, and then watch the 3rd video.